So, hello everybody. This is Hannah Imperial Cannon with Xencelabs. We're getting a little spooky tonight. We've got Joe Gray here, who is a multimedia designer and technologist for Disney Parks and Resorts. Tonight, we're going to do Halloween inspiration through comic strip and truth in expressing yourself through art. As you can see, Joe is all dressed in wonderful Halloween attire. I got to search around here to get something myself and feel like I can fit in. So Joe, can you do me a favor and tell me a little bit about what you do for a living?
Hey, Hannah. Sure. Thanks for having me on the show. So I'm a multimedia designer and technologist for Walt Disney Parks and Resorts. And I do all kinds of things. I do prototypes and animation and presentations and sometimes websites. And sometimes I do murals for cast environments, just all kinds of stuff. You know, it's never the same day twice. So wow, that's what I do.
So I see you wear a lot of hats, and I think I got myself a hat here so I can fit in. Hold
Yay.
on. Yay. All right.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yay. All right. Good. We're good.
Yeah.
So I just now that I'm part of the Halloween spirit, just wanted to know a little bit about your process on what you do with the comic strip, and what kind of applications do you use each day?
Oh, okay, sure. So at work and also in my regular art, my home art, I use After Effects and Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro. I do some Maya, I do some 3D work. Even Electric Image was just quite a while ago, but just the whole Adobe suite is everything I use.
What was Electric Image? Curious.
It's a 3D program. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Long time ago.
So were you actually self-taught, or did you go to school for this?
Well, I have been drawing and crafting and making stuff ever since I was little. I just, always was drawing something. And I always loved school. And when I was in high school, one of our teachers said, well, I'm getting my master's degree. And we're like, you're out of school. What do you keep doing school for? And he said, well, you never stop learning. So I took that to heart. I have a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Michigan State University in graphic design. And I have a Master of Fine Arts from RIT in computer graphics and animation. So.
Oh, wow. And then you ended up moving down to Florida?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got a job at Disney. So, and every job has taught me something different. So I'll take what I've learned in one job and kind of be able to apply it in the next job. And the next job teaches me something different. So that's how I got to such a broad spectrum of things that I understand and that I can do for my employment.
Wow.
I'll never stop learning.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from a lot of artists. It's just important to always keep your mind open to learning. Yep. So I see from the image you have your cartoon strip, Little Bernice. Tell me a little bit about the characters and your inspiration for these characters.
Cool. Well, Little Bernice is a comic strip about a brother and sister. They're to the far left. That's Hamilton, and then Bernice is standing next to him. And it's about a brother and sister who love Halloween and want to make it every single day. So, and it's just their kind of weird way of looking at everything through those eyes.
And who's the other two guys on the other side of Bernice and Hamilton?
Yeah, so the little guy in the hoodie with the ears, that's Danny Dingo. And then next to him is Raymond. So.
Oh, Raymond. Very cool. Yeah. So how did you get the inspiration for this?
So my husband and I love Halloween. And this one day we go to a festival called the Apple Umpkin Festival.
Apple Umpkin.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's just, pumpkins and apples. It's in the fall, and, it's upstate New York, big fall time. And they have a lot of crafts and things. And we're looking at these different booths, and we go past this one that is all these handmade ceramics, like those paint your own pottery kind of places.
Mhm.
And we look at the table, and there's like a kitty and a doggy and an apple and a unicorn, and then there's Demon Guardian from Hell, and then there's another doll and a Raggedy Ann and this and that. It's like you're looking at this table of all these ceramic sculptures, and amongst them, all these cute little things. One of them is like this, couldn't call it anything else but a Demon Guardian from Hell. And all I could think of was this little kid that watched their mom and their sister and all their family and doing ceramics, and him going, can I do ceramics too? And it just became this little kid that you see right there, and that's Hamilton. And he got his name because it's kind of shaped like a ham. So,
Oh, really? I see
yeah.
that. I actually see that. That's funny. So he was your first inspiration for the comic strip then, and then how did you come up with the other characters?
Well, the idea just kept floating around with Hamilton, but I knew that there had to be something more, because it was like, well, Bernice is really kind of me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
I sort of needed that voice too. She needed to be there, and Hamilton needed to be there, and they kind of fit together. So these are just a couple of cartoons from them. And so Bernice is a little bit older. She's like in 4th or 5th grade, and Hamilton is like in 1st or 2nd. But a lot of ways, he's kind of smarter. Like, he knows all this stuff about technology, and she's like this traditionalist that wants it to be Halloween every day, and she's all about Halloween, and she's like got her candy corn all the time. Oops, there goes mine. And she doesn't understand technology quite as well as he does, and it kind of makes her a little uncomfortable, but he's just like, whatever. And so they just kind of interact with each other all the time. She's always trying to change society and runs out with petitions and tries to make it Halloween every day.
So would you say, so you say Bernice is a little bit of you, and then where does Hamilton's personality come from?
Well, they're both kind of me. So
So they're like your persona alter egos?
yeah, because when I think about what are they going to say, I just kind of look at them and say, well, what would they say? Well, what would I say? Well, because sometimes you can't always say everything to everybody. I mean, you have your work persona, and you have your friend persona, and you have this and that, and then with some people you can be everything, like with your spouse, like my husband. But Hamilton and Bernice, they're just that kind of back of my head. You don't really say that stuff out loud, but they can say it.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So I get my inspiration mostly just from picking some weird topic and go, well, how does this fit in with Halloween? If your lens is Halloween, how do you look at things? So like for instance, this cartoon here, it's a Ouija board, but Hamilton thinks about the technology of it, and he says, well, wow, this is really advanced. Look at the speakers on it. So things like that.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So I can see that. I mean, a lot of artists express themselves, and they put a little something about themselves into their art. So it's really interesting to hear you talk about your characters like that. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about your process and how you started drawing them, or are you analog, or are you digital type of drawing? So I know you use a lot of different applications, but do you start with like pen and paper? What's your process?
Sure. Well, I did initially. I did a lot of scribbles about what would these characters look like.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, these are some really early scribbles.
And this
and
was
she had to have, sorry?
You use this in a notebook?
Yeah.
for the scans? Okay,
Just,
nice.
just pen and paper.
Mhm.
But she definitely had to have, these ponytails, because I had ponytails when I was a little kid, and everybody wears stripes and that kind of thing. And these are just some more pictures, but I wanted to make this comic strip and I wanted to make it really good, like right away. So
Mhm.
actually I ended up doing everything in Illustrator, because I thought, well, if I created like a library of faces and hands and this and that and the other thing,
Mhm.
I could just like put them together. So I would write my stories, not in front of the computer. Writing my stories would be someplace else, just what are they going to say? And then I would come to the computer with, here's my 4 panels and here's what they're going to say. And then I'd start cutting and pasting. Well, I originally drew the characters point to point in Illustrator.
Oh,
So
okay.
all of these are just, line drawings in Illustrator. And what I would do is I would do the first one and then I would copy that and then paste it into the second panel. And then I just make the adjustments that are needed for mouth moves or whatever. So these are, a really good example of that, of how that would work.
So you have the facial expressions kind of changing as the panels move forward.
Yep. Yep.
Nice.
But sometimes that doesn't work so well. Like if you're drawing something that's different, or
Mhm.
I'm drawing her this way and now I got to draw her this way, but the hand is different. How do you do that? And that could it can either take a really long time or it could be frustrating or, whatever. But when I discovered this tablet, I'm like, hey, wait a minute, like I can draw in Illustrator with the brush and I
Mhm.
get all my points. Because part of the reason of getting all my points, in Illustrator, as opposed to drawing with a pencil, scanning it and then scanning it at a really large size so that I can trace it again. That's going to like take a lot of time. Plus, I can't like scale it for different applications, but with Illustrator I can. So
So
I need all my
yeah, when you say point to point, you mean in Illustrator drawing your line and then having to connect the points?
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Well, it's you put down a point and then you draw the next point and you use little handles to make the curve
Oh,
and everything. Yeah.
mhm.
But with Xencelabs, it's like, well, I could use the brush tool and I'm getting my points at the same time. So I
Oh,
wanted to work,
okay.
yeah. So I wanted to work on this little cat character. And this is all drawing with a brush with the tablet in Illustrator.
Oh, wow.
And I could get a whole bunch of ideas down like right away, just the same as if I was using a piece of paper and a pencil, except this time now I can go in and like mess with the points and say, well, is it like this or like this, and move it this way and that kind of thing. So like for instance, I kind of took the drawings that you saw before, the Illustrator drawings that you saw before, and got these guys. And then I started looking out onto the internet. And this is actually a Sailor Moon cat. This is not my cat. This is Sailor Moon's Luna cat. And I'm like,
Luna.
oh, I love the big eyes.
Yes. But you
So
used it for reference.
yeah, just for reference. And
Yes.
then I kind of came up with this cat. It's not really the right cat. It's getting close, but I kind of liked how this cat, the Sailor Moon cat, has the little nose and the big eyes. This one
Mhm.
kind of needs some whiskers, maybe. I'm not really sure. So, but thank you for the reference, Sailor Moon, Luna. I know people are going to say, but that's somebody else's cat. It's like, no, I'm just a reference.
Mhm.
But for instance, like, drawing little feet, it's much
Uh-huh.
easier to draw it in with the brush and the pen tablet than it is to like point, drag out a point, figure it out, make the curve, stop, where Xencelabs just like, draw, 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 draw. It's great. Love it.
Now, is this your final version of your cat?
Not quite.
Okay.
Still working on it. So check out my website because more to come. I'm gonna keep that going. So
And what, does he have a name? Does he have a name?
Nope, doesn't have a name yet.
No name yet.
No.
Okay.
Coming along.
Well, it's interesting to see the process. Now, who's
Yeah.
the guy on the left there?
That's Danny Dingo.
Danny Dingo. Now,
Right.
what's he all about?
So he's kind of a funny story. I was told that it really helps to have lots of different characters.
Mhm.
And so Danny Dingo is like one of Hamilton's friends, and he kind of has a crush on Bernice.
Oh, I can see he's staring at her there.
Oh, yeah. And he is very much introverted, and he loves comic books. And so his favorite comic book character is an action hero named the Dingo, aka Trace Carbone. And oh yeah, he collects every single comic book from the Dingo. And Trace Carbone is actually a mild-mannered librarian. And I was a librarian a long time ago too. So
oh wow.
yeah. So
making a comic strip, you really have to think, big picture.
You have your cartoon strip, Little Bernice.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit about the.
Don't know what's going on there. Heard it go live.
It's a spooky night.
Yeah, it is spooky night. I think the ghosts are coming out. It's not even October. So having the comic strip, you have to think of the whole world, right? You have to think of like, what does their world look like, and all these different characters and how they interact. It's a big job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, like I said, I actually likes to make long stories. Like most comic strips are 3 to 4 panels. And 3 to 4 panels is great. It's nice. It's an interesting constraint because you have to get a concept and a joke in 3 or 4 panels, and it can't be a lot of text. I mean, some comic artists do put a lot of text in it, but I try to keep mine low, my word count really low. But what I really like to do is to do series of strips, so that you have a story that keeps you going and makes you want to read the next day's strip.
Oh, nice. Now, have you shown your work in different areas, or have you gotten this strip out? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got good. You read my mind.
Yeah.
So tell me about what this is.
Well, I was trying to break in, and I went to a Halloween trade show and approached a magazine called Haunted Attraction Magazine. And they said, well, yours is really cute. Why don't you go talk to this lady? And her name is Rochelle Santapalo, a very good friend of mine, and she was writing a magazine, a quarterly called Happy Halloween Magazine. And she saw my strip. She's like, yeah, this is great. So we kind of formed a partnership, and I would put a strip in her magazine for, let's see, it went on for quite a few, 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
And, but I wanted to do more than that, because I did, I wanted to do more comics. So I started doing trade shows. And I made, because I didn't have a lot of comics, but I had some artwork. I started out going to the trade shows with postcards and framed art, and just kind of hoping that folks, like mostly it was for advertising.
Right. Are these Halloween trade shows or comic trade shows? What kind of shows are they?
Actually, I did both. I did a couple of Halloween trade shows that kind of ran the gamut of all kinds of Halloween stuff, where there was horror stuff or movies or collectibles or whatever. So I had my booth, and the funny thing was, people would pick up the postcard, read it, and go, oh, that's funny, and then pick up the next one and read it, oh, that's funny. So I didn't make a whole lot of sales, but what I did was I would give them a bookmark and say, just like my page, so that I could get some kind of following. And that worked pretty good. I started to get more and more people to follow me, and then I started doing a daily, and it's kind of a lot of work, especially if you're working 40 hours a week. But
And this is not your full-time day job.
yeah, so this is my evening job.
It's a fun job.
And yeah, but I got a lot done,
Mhm.
and I got enough done that I could actually create a comic book. So
Oh, wow.
comic book.
Oh, nice.
And I'll just show you some of the pages. So, oh, little plug for these guys. Kablam Printing is who did it for us.
Kablam.
Really, yeah, really good people. So it is, I think it's like 32 pages.
Mhm.
And I like to have other things besides comics. So I think the next slide has a Halloween word search. I've got a maze in it. I had a 2-page spread that explained everything about the comic, about the characters. And I think there are 3 stories in this particular book. So a lot of fun to do, a lot of work, but well worth it. And then I did go to a trade show with this and sold comic books, because you can't read the whole book. So it's something to take home. So
Oh,
definitely,
nice.
yeah, if you're going to go into comics, it's great to get a following, but people really want to take home a book. So
Oh, nice. Now, did you always like comics? I know you work for Disney and do lots of work there, but and you've worn all these different hats. And I know I've known you for a couple of years now, and I've seen lots of different work that you do, and it's fabulous. But where did you get your inspiration? Like, did you have, like, when you were a kid, did you read comic strips, and did
Yeah.
you, what were the different things that you would read?
Oh yeah, my dad would read me the Sunday funnies every
Okay.
Sunday. And it was like Sunday morning, my dad and I would sit and we get out the funny papers and we read them together. And it was just, just a joy. I loved it. I read the comics in the newspaper to this day. Yes, I still get an actual newspaper. I read the funnies. I save that for last because that's the best part of the paper. I have loved the Peanuts since I was little. Of course, I don't know if anybody knows of Pogo the Possum, which was a wonderful comic that I could never understand, but I just love the illustrations. Now my favorites are Zitz, and I can't remember who writes it. I'm sorry. But and then Dilbert, of course, by Scott Adams. And then my absolute favorite is Stephen Pastis, Pearls Before Swine. And so,
nice.
Look these guys up. They're wonderful. They're funny. Just lots of fun.
It's funny when I look at Little Bernice, and as we've talked over time, and you're talking about your personas. I saw something on television recently about Charles Schultz and the Peanuts, and how all of his characters, even Lucy, was a little bit of him. So when you say that, it's funny because, I see a lot of that in artists. Like I said, it's just a little like section of their personality that comes out in these characters, and it's absolutely fabulous.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, I honestly want it to be Halloween every day. I enjoy dressing like this, obviously, but it's fun. I mean, people can be themselves on Halloween, or something that they're not normally, or they can be more expressive, or they can just be more themselves, I think. So
Yeah. So is it always Halloween in your office there?
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's everywhere. Painted the walls purple. There's pumpkins all over the place. We actually decorate downstairs for Halloween all the time too.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
So does Little Bernice and Hamilton and the characters, do they ever leave Halloween Land? Do they ever like venture out and like run back home?
Well, actually, they're home. They have regular houses. It's not like they're living in haunted houses, although I always imagined that there was a cemetery next door to their house. But Bernice goes door to door trick-or-treating. Let's see. So like she goes to the grocery store,
Oh,
opens a can of pumpkin, says,
but she eats only pumpkin stuff.
well, she does have a set of foods that are best for everyday eating, and one of them is candy corn. And she has a whole tirade about whether pumpkin is a fruit or a vegetable.
Oh,
So
nice.
what do you think? Is pumpkin a fruit or a vegetable?
I think this is a trick question. So I think I want to say fruit only because I want to say vegetable, but it's probably a fruit because it grows on a vine. I don't know. I don't know. Is it a
Well,
vegetable? I think of it as a vegetable, but then you make a pie out of it, so it's fruity. I don't have a clue.
well, Bernice and Hamilton had quite a discussion about that
Oh,
at one time, and it was quite a lengthy story. So you have to look that one up for sure. But just remember that one of Bernice's favorite things is pumpkin. And
okay.
she doesn't like fruit. I don't like fruit.
You don't like fruit.
No, I like vegetables, but I don't like
Wow.
fruit.
So funny, I had a call. We had this video just earlier with Tim Bowser, and he was saying how he tries not to eat broccoli. And I'm like, we love broccoli.
Broccoli almost every day.
Right? It's good for
Yeah.
you. So is anything else you want to show us about, the characters, just a little bit more about more processes, and are you going to be doing any of this, like moving forward in some animation strips?
Yeah, actually, I'm working on another comic book. It's actually really close to being done. All I really need to do is finalize the proofreading, because the cover's done, and the pages are all laid out. They're all ready to go. So that's got to get done. And then, yes, I have been dabbling in animated cartoons.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what I did was I took essentially two little stories or half stories and put them together and made a nice little 15-second, 30-second. I guess maybe it's about 30 seconds. I have to finish the music on it.
Okay.
And but watch for that too on my social.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
we'll post this and we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. So is it going to be like a 2D type of animation, or are you going to venture into the 3D world? Is it going to stick like strictly with like 2D type of animation, character animation?
Yeah, no, it'll definitely stay 2D. What I have now really looks exactly like the strip.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Most of my comics, almost all of my comics are just in black and white. And part of that is because of, printing costs, for something like this. So I just do the covers. And I'm so jealous of, like I said, my favorite artists like Scott Adams. Every single panel is in color. I'm like, I don't have time to do that. So yeah, but yeah, the animation is in 2D, little bit of shading, not too much, but I don't know how I'd do her in 3D. That would be a little ways off.
It's a big jump. I remember the Blue Sky Studio guys doing the Peanuts animation, and they were like, those big round heads were not as easy as you'd think.
Yeah.
In 3D.
Yeah, but they did a gorgeous job.
They really did. They really did. So I'm looking at the panel. There's a couple people asking questions and making some fun comments.
Oh, good.
So
I hope it's good.
let me look. Ansley Roberts says, I love hearing the backstories behind each of your characters. It's fun to hear how you developed your characters. And then Chelsea asks, when did your passion with spooky themes actually start?
Oh gosh. Again, ever since I was a little kid. My mom would dress me up in costumes, and I always wanted to be the scary costume. No angels for me. No,
No angels.
no, I wanted to be a witch. One year I was a black cat. I haven't ever been a pumpkin, but mostly it was witch, zombie, Frankenstein, something like that.
Definitely no fruits.
No fruits. No, I get an apple. Throw that away. But apple pie's good though. I do like apple pie.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, my love for Halloween started when I was little and has grown over the years more and more and more. Go to hay rides, everything.
Oh yeah, I love the whole everything about it
Yeah.
too. Okay, so we got Paola, and she says the characters are cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Paula.
And then I got confirmation that it's a fruit. Fruits have seeds. And then someone
It
had
can't be a
said,
fruit. I don't like fruit.
pumpkins are fruit. And they
It's the great pumpkin debate.
the great pumpkin. Elizabeth Fisher asked, advice for art block and artists looking to break into the art world. What is some advice you could give, Elizabeth?
I hear you. It happens to me all the time. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to draw. But I find if you just keep trying, like sometimes you really need to take a break. That's for sure. Go garden, go. Like I go for a drive. If I can't think of something, I will come up with more ideas when I go for a drive. And, I'm paying attention to the road. So it's not like I'm not driving safely. But you just kind of need to get away from wherever you are and go do something different or look at something different or think about something different or not think about it at all. So it's kind of like two things. You need to come to the board, and I call my computer the board. You need to sit at the desk, sit at your table, wherever you are comfortable working. You need to kind of make that a habit. And if it's not working, then take a break and go do something else, because that idea is going to simmer at the back of your head and something's going to come up and you're going to go, I know what it is. Let me get back to the board and start drawing, start sketching. So that's what I do.
I think that's good
Good luck.
advice. I like that you call it the board. So your computer and your tablet are the board.
Yep.
I love that. I might have to phrase that more often.
Sure.
We have more questions. Also from Ansley, do you do anything spooky to get in the mood to draw a Little Bernice? That could be a little personal.
I don't know. I think I kind of got it here. That's a good question though. Because like sometimes I'll feel like, I did this idea about Halloween and that idea about Halloween and that idea about Halloween, and I can't think of any more. And so that's where you have to go, okay, well, let's go think about something else, because maybe there'll just be some kind of twist. And that's another thing that helps with the characters, to have more characters than just the two, Hamilton and Bernice. And that was some advice I was given a long time ago, that you need more characters in a comic strip so that they can build off of each other, so that, when the ideas are kind of, can't think of something for Hamilton and Bernice, but I can think of something for Danny now. That's one way. So yeah, it's just, it's not so much to try to think of something spooky. It's just sort of, like I said, I am talking for these characters. I give them that voice. That's this weird filter on the world that isn't, like I said, they are of this world. They're not in Halloween land. They are
living
They go to
here
school.
amongst us.
Yep. They go to school, they go to the library, they go to the grocery store, they do all these things. It's just they're thinking about stuff in a different way.
I like that. Now the pumpkin, what's the name of the pumpkin? I know you told me a story back when about this is a different kind of pumpkin than just a jack-o'-lantern.
Yeah. So that's Raymond.
Okay.
And all these weird things come out of Bernice and Hamilton's basement
Mhm.
is what
Oh,
happens.
okay.
And he was the first thing that came to mind that they found in the basement. And it was sort of like, oh, you found a pumpkin in the basement. How did that happen? Since how long has it been sitting there?
Mhm.
So they decide to carve it. And Bernice is like, I'm going to show you how to carve a pumpkin. And she goes and cleans up or something. And then the pumpkin, Hamilton's looking at the pumpkin, and there is a comic strip about it. And I'll tell you a little bit. And all of a sudden the pumpkin looks at him and goes, boo. And Hamilton's like, oh my gosh, my dreams have come true.
Mhm.
But see, Raymond, so he starts figuring out that the pumpkin's name is Raymond.
And he's alive.
He's alive, but
Mhm.
only to Hamilton.
Oh,
Like as soon as Bernice shows up, he's just a jack-o'-lantern again. And it's like nothing's going on.
oh,
As
so
soon as she
he's
leaves, he's Raymond again.
Hamilton's imagination, not Bernice. And she doesn't, no. Interesting.
It's not really an imagination.
So it's real, but he's only talking to one of them.
Yeah.
Very
Again, that's where it's like, how come Bernice is out, like, it's like, okay, in my brain, I'm like, Bernice is always the one that wants Halloween, but sometimes it's just for Hamilton.
So Hamilton's the only one who channels him.
Yeah, kind of.
All right, I got a couple more. Chelsea asks, how long have you been illustrating?
Boy, again, since I was little,
Mhm.
probably been working with Illustrator and Photoshop and all those programs. Well, since they came out.
Okay, that's what I think.
It's been a long time.
Long time.
I've been thinking again about getting another MFA in illustration. So seriously, was pursuing it. I got accepted at one school, but I just couldn't make the time work. So now I'm thinking about it again because I really do enjoy it.
Pretty busy.
Yeah. I do a lot of illustration work at work as well. So it's just kind of long time. I think my favorite non-technical medium is colored pencils.
Oh.
Because I was doing some drawing classes and I, instead of the regular charcoals and all that, which are messy, I don't like mess. I got out the colored pencils and I just love that medium.
Oh, nice. All right, we have another one, Mav Lilin. Sorry if you mentioned it before.
That's okay.
What is your comic making process, especially story writing?
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little different question than we talked about before. Is like I said, I kind of pick a topic, and then I figure out how am I going to get a 4-panel conversation, or maybe it's just one character is kind of thinking aloud, and it'll be just pen and paper. So sometimes it's pen and paper. In the living room. Sometimes I'm actually sitting at the board and using Word, just typing stuff out, which is a great editing tool. And then, like I said, a lot of times I'm thinking about something while I'm driving into work, and stuff will come to me and I got to write it down right away so I don't forget.
These are great questions. Thank you for answering that.
Of course.
I think we're kind of getting out of time. We covered a lot of topics. I don't see any more questions. Do you? No more questions. Well, Joe, I love chatting with you. I love that, you shared this comic strip with us. Anyone who's watching this, please check out littlebernice.com. We're also having a contest like the Lightbox from Xencelabs. So come to our booth, check out our website, and we're giving away a bunch of great prizes every day.
Awesome.
So I want to thank everybody. I'm going to share my screen now. And do
Yeah, and everybody's who's on, don't forget to visit the description box to check out more of Joe. She has her Facebook and Little Bernice hashtag. Make sure you can keep up with her comics, and as well as our giveaway that is a limited Lightbox giveaway. We have 6 giveaways going, all of which are hidden in the descriptions of our live streams or in the scavenger hunt in the Artist Alley.
And
Nice.
please share some pictures of hats, some Halloween hats in the descriptions of YouTube.
That'd be awesome.
All right.
Yeah,
thank
tell me
you.
what costume you like best.
Oh, yeah, mine. No, just kidding. All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everyone.
It was a pleasure. Thank you again, Joe.
Take care. Bye.